Hi everyone, I am Daphney and I am a certified dating relationship coach. And today I want to talk about the movie A Nice Indian Boy. Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all, when I first heard about this movie, I thought it was about two Indian men, right? But it really isn't. And I'm just going to give some, spoilers right now, because if y'all haven't seen it, I believe it's streaming right now. So, you can watch it, and it may even still be at some of the theaters. I don't know. But I enjoyed the movie. So let's get into it really quickly.
Hi Jeremy, was drinking water today and thought of you. Delete. Hey Edmund. Hey Ben. I was talking to my mom today and I remembered you have a mom. Delete.
Sent.
This is about Naveen. Naveen is this Indian boy, from this traditional Indian family, right? But the cool thing about Naveen's family is that his parents are somewhat liberal, right? And they have accepted that he's gay, right? Even though sometimes I'm not sure if he accepted that he was gay, but they definitely accepted that he was gay. And so Naveen is this, cute little doctor who works at this hospital. I don't know what he's doing, because in the movie, it doesn't show him doing much but talking to people on the phone and talking to his friend while they work, right? So anyway, Naveen meets this guy, Jay. Jay is this photographer who comes, I don't know if this is like his first time doing this, but he comes to the hospital to take people's photos. And so as he's taking Naveen's photo.
The photographer is hot.
I've got an extra ticket to a film screening if you want to join me.
I'll check my calendar, but yes, I think I'll be, which movie?
They kind of connect, right, in a good way. He goes out with him, right? And so that's kind of how this movie starts, that they go on this date, right? Now, Naveen, I don't think typically dates white men, and so this was kind of unusual for him.
I'm adopted. I was raised by Indian parents. Theirs was the first home where I felt like I belonged.
But he had this connection with Jay, right? And so he went on this date, and then they started dating. I'm like speeding up, right, so that y'all can get it. But they start dating, and then they fall in love, right? And then, Jay's really happy, and everybody can see now that he's like really happy. His disposition has changed. He's full of joy, all the things, honey. And so he decides, or maybe they decide together, that it's time for Jay's family to meet, Naveen's family to meet Jay, right? So Naveen's family is planning. You know how people do. They got all this food. They love to socialize, they're good at, bringing out the good goods, right? For their guests and everything. So what happens is that while the family is preparing, for Jay to come, right? This new person that they don't know anything about, really. So they get to the door of the parents' house, right? And they knock on the door. The parents go to open the door and they're like, oh, wow. Not really like that, but you know what I mean.
We think it's wonderful that you're white.
Oh my God.
Because now they're seeing this white man that they weren't expecting to see. They were expecting to see a nice Indian boy. And, the thing about Jay is that he was adopted by an Indian family. So he has an Indian last name. So his parents just assumed that he was Indian, right? But he's not. And that's kind of like the twist of the movie. And that's really what I want to talk about. That sometimes the people that we fall in love with, right? The people that we should be connecting with, the people that should be our people, our person, our whatever, right? Our forever, don't always come in the packages that we want them to. And that's what happened here. So even though Jay was not Indian, he was very well versed in the culture, because that's how his family raised him, right? And it was kind of hard for Naveen to accept him because he wasn't, white. He wasn't, Indian, and he was white, but he was cool with who he was.
Naveen, you should be with your family. You didn't tell them about me.
How do you expect us to react? Go off to live your own life. We don't know anything about you or your relationships, nothing.
He wasn't trying to be anything but who he was, and that's the deal. But all I can say to y'all, and I want to make a couple of points. One is this, Naveen was struggling, I think, with himself and his culture and being gay and all the things, right? And that, caused a little bit of struggle with him and Jay, because he was trying to figure out, like, who am I, and am I going to be okay, marrying or dating this white man, even though he does have an Indian name, right? And so all I can say to you is this, like, for everybody, like, if you're trying to date, if you're trying to build a relationship with someone, make sure you're solid. I've probably said this 100 million times, but make sure you're solid. Make sure you're good with who you are. And don't let, someone else's culture, someone else's, race, identity, whatever that is, keep you from loving them for who they are and accepting them from who they are. Because, like I said, the packages don't always come the way we want to. But the big thing, and y'all know I talk about this all the time, is that I believe, the internal qualities are what really makes a difference. And so if you have like goals, right? You have a like lifestyle, if you're like-minded, right? And you fit together, right? Regardless of your race, your culture, the color of your skin, whatever that is, don't be so quick to say no to people just because they don't necessarily look like you, because they could be your person, just not in the package that you were hoping for, right? Or that you were expecting, or that you're used to. So let me just get into what I really like about this movie. I talked about the mom last time, when I was talking about love and basketball, but it's something about these moms, right? That, make it easier for their children. They're more accepting, they're more loving. And this mom was funny. She was cute as a button. I love when they were doing the dance. Like I said, if y'all haven't seen the movie, please do. It's fun. It's a cute love story. And I, am happy that I decided to watch this movie. And I'm happy that I'm able to talk about this movie, because I think it's really important, for everybody, to understand that love is love.
The big wedding party with all of the people we love. I want the same thing with you.
My only gay son is getting married.
And it comes in different packages. So I'm just going to stop here and say thank you. I'm Daphney, and thank you for watching another episode of Coachable Moments at the Movies.